would like the ship to go. Now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Discussing Trek. I'm your host, Clarence, and this week we have none other than Tasha Pierce joining us. Tasha, how are you doing?
I'm so well, and I am so happy to have been invited to talk about this episode. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. Also on the podcast, as always, we have Larry Irby. How you doing, Larry?
Doing fine.
Thank you for being here as well, sir. And we're here to talk about A Space Adventure Hour, Strange New Worlds, the latest episode of Strange New Worlds, when La'an tests a prototype holodeck with a fictional case only she can solve, apparently. The consequences of failure get greater and greater with Enterprise hanging in the balance. Let's just get right into it. We are back for a holodeck episode in New Trek. You know, one of the rare holodeck episodes in New Trek. And just overall, at the highest level, what did you guys think of this one?
The highest level, I thought it was a fun episode. It gave us some little throwback vibes of some things that we have seen in Trek before. And, you know, I don't see where this episode has controversy, but I know there is some.
Oh, is there? Is there really? Huh. I don't know. I'm being dead serious on that. I don't know. Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. You've been perusing the internet as you do, so you would have some of that information for us. But Larry, what's your high level opinion of this episode, sir?
I'm in pain about this one because I did not love this one, but upon the third watch,
wow,
I found things that I can go, okay. I've never been a super big fan of the holodeck because it's like I said, how many times can this thing go wrong? Really? Really? Other this 24th century, and this is 23rd century, so you know something was bound to go wrong.
That's what I was going to say. This is not something going wrong again. This is something going wrong for the first time.
For the first time, yeah.
Well, it's
controversy is what it says.
I laughed at that.
I don't think I've said I had a pretty high score on this one last night when I was chatting with the Best of Trek, their live stream last night. But I did watch it again for today. I don't hate it. I think there's some really interesting layers that they add to the tropey holodeck episode. I mean, we've seen it all before. It does all the things. Name all the things that happen in holodeck. They did it in this episode. But I thought some of the meta commentary around it was pretty interesting. And also I want to get into like Spock. Not Spock, I'm sorry, Scotty. What's going on with Scotty? I know with him too, this is the genesis of us seeing him, but also him in this episode felt very weird and just...
that's one of the aspects I liked about the episode.
Really?
When I said in the Discord that it gave us a little bit of character development, I was talking about Scotty.
It did, but let's start with Scotty. Let's start here. The B plot, but not really B plot because it tied right in with the main thing that was going on in this episode. For me, I see what they were trying to do. They were trying to get the character growth, obviously, by having him tackle this problem that Paleo left them with. She was off doing something else. And he had to juggle a lot of things. This is the genesis of the holodeck. So this is the field test. We're out here in the thick of it, and he has to figure out how to make this all work. But by himself, and he doesn't want any help.
Have you watched Scotty in TOS?
Yes, I have. This is
his same personality, but he got better at doing it by the time. The way I looked at it is this is where he starts. He's too proud or stubborn to ask for help. So he has rigged that ship up to the only person who can fix it by the time we get in TOS is him. And I looked at it like that. I said, now we see why the only person who can ever fix Enterprise is Scotty.
Now that you frame it that way, it makes it feel a lot better to me.
I'm always want to put a Band-Aid on your feelings now.
because I'm looking at it at the point of view from Starfleet. It's all about teamwork, working together. And I low-key felt like he let the captain and the rest of the ship down in this episode.
And he did. And I'm not trying to talk, Reinhardt. I will talk forever, so interrupt me. But he did, but it was even addressed. That was even addressed that, hey, you don't have to do it by yourself. And he said, when I was out there, by myself on that ship, there was nobody but me. So he learned to only lean on himself because he's the only one that got out. That's the way I looked at it anyway.
I'm still seeing Scotty as a work in progress. And I think when we look at these characters now, it's hard for us to cope that like, oh, this is the younger version of what we're going to come to know. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you're thinking of Scotty's like he can take care of everything and Scotty can do everything. But remember, he's still a young dude. He's really still just now. I mean, he's a genius already. We know that.
Yeah.
But he's just still got to come into his own, just like everybody we're seeing on here. They're all, other than number one and Pike, the rest of them are still kind of finding their way, even Spock.
I don't know. I just got to keep falling back on the entire crew hangs in the balance while he doesn't want to tell anybody else what's going on.
I'm going to be honest with you. That little snip was just not great writing. Because I honestly think Scotty would have told somebody, it's like, I kind of need some help. We all
and I get it. I get it, man. I'm a programmer. We have bugs that go to production and you try to fix them real quick before nobody, finds it out. But sometimes it's better to surface it before they find it out, So, yeah, I liked his struggle in this episode, but it's growth. I'll take it like you said, Tasha. I will take it as just growth for Scotty. What about just the juggling of how the holodeck, this new prototype thing, integrates into the ship as a whole? A lot of the problems we saw in this episode are not too different from problems we've seen in the future. And it makes sense that we would have them, but also why are we experimenting with this while we're out there next to a star that's finna explode and we have no safety net? It seems kind of weird that we would test it so openly, in the wild. Thoughts?
That was a strong case of hopium. We hope nothing goes wrong, and then something goes wrong. And I look at it, though, is another part of that meta layer of commentary. We had the meta layer in the holodeck, but this is also showing us how silly some of the shenanigans that the other shows are other like Voyager and TNG, how silly that was too, because it's like, why do you even need this? Yeah. It gave us some explanation and then it gave us some commentary.
Yeah, it's certainly, they said almost verbatim what I was thinking it was going to be. This is just obviously what it is. It's entertainment for the prolonged 5-year mission.
Right.
That's what we know it to be. And we see it used effectively for that purpose in the future. So I do get why we're doing this. But again, just the safeguards around it felt a little weird.
I'll tell you one thing I think they should have done. They should have made it a little bit more retro. Meaning, like, if you have the holodeck room, don't make it look just like next gen holodeck or Voyager room. Make it look like where they have to put on goggles or something, and they're in the enclosure, and everything comes up like that. Make it a little retro, I would have prepared that,
Is that too retro? It's because that's where we are.
Yeah, you want the Vision Pro out here.
Listen,
here's my question for you, though, Reinhardt. Is this when they went to the alternate power source? We know that by Voyager there's an alternate power source.
Yeah.
Was there an alternate power source in the TNG era, or have we even seen? Okay, from this experiment on this Enterprise to TNG, did they go straight to the alternate power source, or did that come with Voyager?
Oh, I think they had one at TNG.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. And you know what? And I'll answer Clarence's question. He's talking about why would they test? Now, listen, let's be honest here, Clarence. They would have tested that thing on Earth in a simulation room. They definitely ain't putting it on no starship, but it's the show. So we just got to kind of make our minds work.
And it seems like I remember, was it Janeway saying that she played in a holodeck type deal
when she was the kid story.
So they had them on Earth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. And I remember it being so strange to me that, we installed them on DS9, it was just weird to see it in a stationary place at the time, but it makes sense that it would start in a place like that. And it made me think a lot about the Enterprise episode where we introduced we have the transporter, but then we started using it for humans. And we saw the founder of that on that episode as well. So as far as it being, great episode. And as far as it being a genesis of that for Star Trek going forward, like you said, Reinhardt, maybe they could have made it a little bit more retrograde, dumbed it down just a little bit, but it seemed as sophisticated as anything we've seen going forward.
It's the cortical things. Was that something that you had to do prior to your first use of a holodeck in any other show?
I don't know. Remember that one? And I know Wingrace can back me up on this. Remember on Voyager, when Voyager was going after the Equinox? And remember how their holodeck, they said, we don't have the fancy one like you guys had. And they had to put the thing on.
Yeah. You're right.
See, something like that would have made more sense to me for this.
I can see that.
Before we move on, do you guys have a favorite, just as we're talking about different shows, do you have a favorite holodeck episode?
I always like the ones with Bashir. Mm-hmm. And as weird as it is when he goes in there and he turns into this secret agent, I love those shows.
I don't know. I gotta be honest. I love the one with Data and Moriarty. I love it because it was so good because, it's like Data, we're going to create a program that can challenge Data. It's like, Jordan, you got to be careful what you say, man. And that was so good. And then we got to see that character return later on. So that's, I'm not talking about when they brought the character back in Picard for some weird reason that made no sense. But when he came back the second time and he had the lady with him and they decided to put him in their own recurring little universe.
I noticed also with this episode, that is where we get into our problem with Lon entering the holodeck. Make a program that will be challenging for me. And you just put these cortical stimulators on so they know the thing knows exactly what's at the top of your mind. Yeah. So I kind of knocked myself upside the head because I was like, oh, I should have known right then. It sounded exactly like what Geordi did with Data.
Yeah, exactly. And for my favorite, I really love the was it the URL 2-parter from Voyager where the what's the race? They were using it to just as hunting them as game. Yeah. I thought I like that.
The Herodian.
Yeah, the Herodian.
That was fantastic 2-parter.
Yeah, I love it. I thought that was a great use of the holodeck for a serious story.
Wasn't the late great Tony Todd in that one?
I want to say he was. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get into some of the details of what was actually going on the holodeck. In my opinion, this is probably this is the darkest storyline for what could have happened to Star Trek in a lot of ways. Yeah. And it's very similar in some ways. For the meta part of this episode, the references to people in real life like Gene Roddenberry and other Lucille Ball and others, and some of these characters. How do we feel about the meta? Was it too on the nose? It almost, did it feel preachy at times about how great Star Trek is to change the world and all this stuff? What are your thoughts on the meta narrative that we got from this holodeck adventure that was cooked up by Lon's brain?
What I liked the most is that within the universe, within this holodeck universe, the characters who were playing, the parodies of some of our front four people of Star Trek,
Yeah.
they were looking at this whole thing like, this is just our job. This is just something that we're doing, and we're going to fight to keep our job. We don't care about any of the other stuff. They didn't know how big their show was going to be later on down the line.
Yeah.
And it should make us think about Star Trek. The original Star Trek, they had no idea that we will be discussing this 60 years later. So that is the part of the meta that I appreciated the most.
What about you, Larry?
Yeah. I honestly, that's what kind of saved this episode for me. I wasn't in love because I felt like this was a holodeck episode that we were, checking every box of all the stuff you do in holodeck. Something's got to go wrong. Oh, the safety protocol's off again. So now we're really in danger. But, I really, that did speak to me when the character, especially when you had Uhura or, version of her saying, somebody's going to see this, and this, somebody's going to be inspired by this, and somebody that did kind of speak to me. And when you look at Chapel's character, who said, yeah, my lines keep getting shorter and my skirts keep getting shorter, like she's not being valued for her acting ability, just more or less how she looks.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, and even if you go a little bit deeper into like this whole storyline with this, the production of this show that's gone bad, and we even get the recreation of the Last Frontier series for the opener, the cold open for this show. I thought all that was just extremely well done. And if I was at anything, maybe it was a little bit too on the nose for me, that kind of maybe like, oh man, I feel sorry for Shatner. Is the Maxwell Saint character, of course, played by R. Kirk. He really hammed it up. And a lot of the performances in this episode were really hammed up, which I don't know how I feel about that. It was almost like it was played. You have a semi-serious detective whodunit story going on that was almost played for laughs in the portrayal of some of these characters. Again, some serious stuff in the background, people getting murdered, but it's getting hammed up a lot by these actors.
You have never seen Clue, have you?
I have seen Clue. I've seen all the what's the Ryan Johnson things, the onions on
okay. So you've seen Clue, the Clue movie from the 80s.
I've seen it a long time ago.
Amazing movie. That
is it really?
You don't think that's over that is as hammy and ridiculous as it is, and it's a cult classic.
Well, a lot of those whodunit stuff is pretty hammy, I will say, on the whole. But
the Sherlock Holmes stuff from the old days, I used to watch those on Saturday afternoon as a kid in the 70s, and they scared the crap out of me back then. Some of them.
Yeah, but for me, I don't know if I really enjoyed that all that much. But for me, the thing often with these holodeck episodes is seeing these characters do things that we don't normally see them do. Obviously, they had a lot of fun doing this. I mean, you could just tell by watching. They had a lot of fun. I think maybe the goofiest character for me was Anson Mount. Playing
my favorite in that
Bellows / Roddenberry.
Did you catch what he said? He said, "I'm a writer. I'm never happy." You can't tell me they weren't having fun with that.
Yeah. Did they try to throw Roddenberry off the show before it was over?
Oh, Roddenberry fought with the studio constantly. Over that back then. There was who's the one of the people? It wasn't Bob Justman, but it's another person who was at a con, and he would talk about how Gene would tell the studio, okay, we'll do it this way and we'll do it this way. And if you don't like it, we'll do it the way you guys want it. But he's like, oh, sorry, I didn't have time to do it your way. So Roddenberry got away with a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
He fought for a lot too.
Yeah. It's kind of sad to see if any inkling of this is real. Like, what are they trying to tell us? That's kind of what I'm left with from this episode too. What exactly are they trying to tell us with this adventure?
That they didn't know what they had. That the studio did not know what they had, because Celia Rose Gooding's character in the holodeck laid it out perfectly, but everybody else around them, they did not know what they had, and it's just like the studio back then. They didn't know what they had. We're still doing this 60 years later. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah.
Just put it into perspective. I'm 57, so I'm creeping up on, Lord willing, 60. Star Trek's third season aired the year I was born. That's how long we're going on. The first season aired in 66. And it went through all those years of that fan base growing. Me at 5 years old, now 57. All the people who have been born subsequently after that, Tasha, you, everybody else. I mean, that is pretty cool, man.
And in essence, the fans who were there and the fans who had not yet been born made this franchise. And they wouldn't have given it a chance after 2 seasons. You know, they gave it the third season, and then you saw the fall off of a lot of things on the third season. And when they gave it that third season, and they thought, okay, we're done with this. And it's the thing that's holding up your streaming platform 60 years later.
You wouldn't have, many people have said, George Lucas even said that was one of the things that inspired him to write Star Wars. The people who made Battlestar Galactica. And of course, shows like, books like Dune, the Foundation series, inspired Gene Roddenberry, because there's a lot in Star Trek that's taken, especially from the Foundation series.
Yeah. What did you guys think of the Last Frontier little episode within episode we got?
It was bad.
On purpose, right?
But good bad.
Can't be bad.
At first, I did not have a clue where this thing was going. And I'm like, is this going to be the whole episode? And then I noticed, like, okay, he's doing Shatner, so there's got to be more to it. And I think I liked it.
It's weird, though, when you go back and watch, like, if you ever sit down and watch, and I know, Tasha, I know you have, but if you sit down and watch Lost in Space, like the original Lost in Space, bruh, it's on that, like, you can see the string on the ship at times, on the Jupiter.
Oh, yeah,
you can on the TARDIS, too. You can totally see the string on the TARDIS. Doctor
Who early days. but again, I want to go back to, like, what are they trying to say with that message? Of course, it's inspiring us now, but to me, they almost low-key just made fun of what was before. They made fun. To me, they were just basically making fun of TOS in a way.
I didn't see that.
I did, but I didn't see anything wrong with that. I didn't see it as being maliciously done. I just saw it,
exactly,
and because they even did the Riker maneuver in there, So I'm like, It wasn't just poking fun at TOS. It poked fun across the board, but TOS got it on the chin. Yeah.
Like I said, when he hit that note and said, "I'm a writer, I'm never happy," that was really throwing shade, but in a loving way, at the writers of all the different shows and stuff.
What Anton Smith says too.
I agree with Dell in the chat here. It reminded him of USS Callister from Black Mirror, which is an episat I love. I haven't seen the sequel yet.
I have got to see it. I have not watched any of the new Black Mirror, but I've got to.
Yeah, but that was a great throwback to the original Trek that I thought was a not completely faithful, but I thought they did a decent job of trying to portray it.
That is true. Jimmy,
and Bingo was Jimi Hendrix.
Hendrix.
And he played a guitar. He talked about his little shindigs he had or whatever they called him in the episode. Like, wow, okay.
And he used the mid-Atlantic accent too. That accent that was all not quite English, but not quite British.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, what are he doing here? Did he know any of the people from Star Trek production? Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, but I just thought all of the characters were interesting. As far as acting performances, I thought La'an did a very good job, and I thought that Uhura's character, she felt, to me, she felt the most natural in the character she was portraying.
She wasn't over the top. I think she was the outside looking in character. She was us within that situation. You know, everybody else was part of it, and she was us running around looking for a cigarette.
Oh God!
Or no, a lighter.
Oh man, yeah. And then, wow, what was Ortega's character's name? Woods. I thought her character was pretty funny too. And it brought up the battle of the Westerns versus, I guess, sci-fi trying to be a burgeoning thing at the time, and Westerns were all the craze. So that was kind of the thing.
True.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what they were. You know, Gene Roddenberry sold it to NBC as Wagon Train to the Stars. When, to be quite honest, like Firefly was probably fit that bill more decades later than Star Trek did. But hey, we got Star Trek.
Let's get Ortega's wasn't a pilot. She wouldn't fly. Well, I guess she did fly the ship in the episode.
She did fly the ship.
What do we think about the twist? So you talked about the cortical, what do you call it?
Stimulators.
That La'an wore before she went in. We had this continued storyline of, I called it a couple of episodes back that, you know, Spock and La'an they get kind of steamy. That wasn't just dancing. That was a little bit more. And lo and behold, we kind of get to that point in this episode. I know Reinhardt hates it.
I didn't like the romance part either. And it just diminishes who Spock was. For a young asexual myself, I'm like, this is a person that nobody could get. Nobody could get. So why is it all of a sudden that everybody's getting them? No.
But don't most people get it out while they're young?
You're right.
This is his younger years.
I'm just going to say this, and this is my harshest critique. This is just bad writing right here. and I'm going to say that. And I love this show so much. I don't even have to say it because everybody knows I love it. But no, man, come on. Now you're just relying on too many tropes. That's like saying that you can't have a dude on a show with other women without him hooking up with this woman. And that, I mean, what is this, Melrose Place? That's what we're getting to.
Well, good that you bring that up, because again, our friends at Best of Trek, Worst of Trek, they were talking about this, and they brought up the fact that I do agree with this slightly, that Strange New Worlds is becoming more soap opera-ish versus hardcore sci-fi, whatever that means. But yeah, it does seem like this whole love storyline has loomed more and more as we've gone on. And, I like that the stories are about the relationships as well. It's not just about the sci-fi, just like it's not just about the zombies in The Walking Dead. So I love that we're going into that more, but I wonder if the balance has tipped a little bit too much. What do you guys think?
I agree with you that it should be more than, especially in 2025. There are themes that can be explored in this series, and I'm glad that they are taking an opportunity to do it. I don't think we should have to lean so heavily on romance, especially when it comes to Spock. I'm gonna protect Spock. it never had to be that way, and one of the things as a younger person that was the most attractive about Spock is that he was above it. And the only thing that I hope comes out of this, and this is me swinging another way, is if we find out the feelings behind, like how did Spock feel when he was being really short with Chapel on TOS, and how did she feel when he threw the soup at her that time? If we can get into those kind of feelings, I'll be all right with it.
I really thought it is. It's like That's why I'm throwing Law and Order in there, SVU. I love the fact they had two characters. They had a male and female character. They never once crossed. They were never romantic. There was not even a thought of it. Because I think when you take somebody like Spock and, God, if you want to explore the whole Chapel thing, I'd expect them to go that deep in this, that they had a whole relationship we didn't know about. But like you said, I tried to retcon that in my head and say, hey, maybe that's why they were the way they were. All this tension back in the day.
Yeah.
But then now, I mean, doing this is just like, come on, guys, you guys are better than that. The writers, you are better than that. Then just now we had to T'Pring, then we had Chapel. Then are we gonna jump into the alternate universe? We're gonna do Spock and Uhura next. I mean,
oh yeah, I guess JJ did it first. I'm sure Explorer probably books and stuff, but
remember Uhura and Scotty? That was a thing that, and Jimmy Doolin said. I said, "What about the Uhura and Scotty thing?" And he was just like, "Yeah, Bill came up with that." He literally said, "Yeah, whatever."
Yeah. For me, as far as the whole Lon thing, I think it's gonna go far enough to make Spock go hard in the other direction, but that's kind of hard to say because we know we have another season and a half, 2 seasons left. So to me, that's so far away. I can't see them stopping it now and them having no other love interest stuff going on after that. Maybe it ends at the end of this season because we know Corby is going to come back. He's going to at least be in the next episode. So maybe this is his rebound, and then the whole seeing Corby again with Chapel is going to, have its own set of drama that's going on. So maybe this is the catalyst to push him back completely in the other direction that we know him from. Maybe.
I don't know. It's so weird too. Because number one, it takes away from La'an. Because La'an know him and Christine, or her and Christine not friends, friendly. I mean, it'd be that's like saying, "Oh, girl,
hey, it's a small ship, man. There's only 203 people aboard.
Girlfriend, I'm sliding on in here. I know you was up in here, but I'm sliding on in here."
She moved on first.
She's not following the code, man. She's not following the code.
I hadn't even seen to tell you. You tell them don't ever write women like that. That was messed up. Spock, when she looks at Spock and goes, "Spock, are we gonna be okay?" No, you bring your new boyfriend and you ask me, "Are we gonna be okay?"
As far as La'an, I will say this: it's interesting to see her let her guards down, because we know when she first came, Gorn, write it down 1,000 times. That's the only thing she ever thought about. She never opened up herself to experience anything further. So knowing that as her background and seeing her progress, I like it. Maybe not with Spock. Spock.
Think about this. The only person who was not a part of Enterprise who was in that simulation was Kirk, because he was also at the top of her mind. So you got Spock and Kirk both top of her mind.
Nice. And we had that powwow with fake Spock, fake Kirk, and Lon on they're sitting across from each other. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh man, this is so deep. Because we know Kirk always got with the girl that he got close with on TOS. And then he's mocking La'an and Spock for the very same thing.
Yeah.
Like, this is perfect.
Know that Kirk, well, I guess by this time, he's a father already. Because remember, he told
I forgot about that.
He told her, he said, "Yeah, Carol and I, she's pregnant right now." And it's like, okay, so David's probably been born by now.
Yeah. Oh, poor David.
Plus, we're having too much Kirk, man. I love Paul Wesley. I've been following that man's career since way back. He did The Fallen to Vampire Diaries. But man, y'all are doing too much Kirk, man. Too soon.
That's why I'm glad he wasn't Kirk at all in this episode. And we thought of one way of him being with her, and what was it, tomorrow. That episode. So okay, that wasn't really Kirk, and this wasn't really Kirk, but
good
top
point.
of her mind,
Good point.
that is the face that she put on this handsome lead of this series.
Yes, interesting.
I just wonder about Shatner. He's sensitive about this kind of stuff.
I was going to ask, had anybody heard any commentary from him, and has he spoken on it?
Now, I will say I got fooled. There's an I think it's a Wired interview where he is talking about other actors portraying him, and somebody took that footage and intercut it with Paul Wesley's performance from this episode, and it just sounds like he's dogging them, but it's just something somebody on the internet pasted together. But it worked very well, though. But
it was effective.
Like, is Shatner gonna be mad? He's gonna be mad after seeing him ham it up with the Kirkisms. With addiction.
He tries to be a good sport about it, but it annoys him though. When people say you talk funny, it probably does annoy
Oh man. And I'm jumping around here. If there's anything about the episode you want to talk about, you can bring it up because I know I'm jumping around. I liked how Uhura helped Scotty eventually get into the simulation. And I just love where we're seeing this footage of them breaking the scene and then just Scotty just running up. Hey. I like Chef's kiss right there. That's beautiful.
Favorite line of this episode. I'm an actor, not a doctor.
Oh yeah. Flipped it on his head. That was so good.
I knew that was coming at some point.
That was so good. Yeah. It's a lot of great lines in this episode. It really is. And I think you just got to take it for the fun romp that it's supposed to be. And maybe devoid of the Spock stuff. This could be anywhere in the city. Sort of like last week. Well, yeah, it could sit anywhere in the series and it'll work fine, which is what I guess Strange New World's mandate was supposed to be self-contained episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Was this episode 5?
4.
4.
This was episode 4. Okay, now it's time to get serious here a little bit.
Well, but at some point we're getting freaking Muppets, so it's not going to get put on.
I know, and this is the thing. The first episode was the cliffhanger. We solved that like that, right? Sort of. We know Battelle, she's still going through that. Then the next episode was the wedding episode. Okay, not my favorite. Okay. Then the next episode was the zombies,
which I enjoyed.
So, had Klingons. I liked that. I was here for that. And then this episode, it's like, when are we going to have an actual, like an episode like where they went to that one planet and they discovered the Illyrians had turned into energy trying to, cool. That was cool.
Well, it goes back to another question I really had about the series, and especially maybe this season more than past seasons. And they keep saying big swings. When is big swings turn into big gimmicks? I don't want it to be a series of gimmicks. They have to get back to the core of what Star Trek is, which I think they will. I would have liked Pike's disdain for holographic technology to be a little bit more. Though he does say, shove it, dig a hole and bury it or something at the end when he's talking to Scotty. But we know from Discovery Season 2, he has them rip the holographic communication projectors out of the Enterprise. So I thought he would have been a little more miffed that they were testing this on his ship.
Well, Rick, I was going to ask you guys, and I have a question. This is an honest question. And we all know you have your certain group of the haters and all that. So let's go in there. But since they did that episode you brought up, Tasha, with Kirk and La'an back.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Yeah. Since they did that and they said that time had been shifted slightly.
They did.
Because we know things that have. Are we not watching an alternate universe?
I kind of thought so until these recent conversations about wanting to go further with the series, with following Kirk's Enterprise in the time period between what we saw on TV already. Then when they said that, I'm like, well, okay, so they are merging this stuff. This is all going to be one thing unless they do something different.
Or are they making a justification to redo it the same thing during the same timeline, but look different? You no longer have to suspend your disbelief. You can.
Well, we all know how. Listen, I try not to even worry about. I worry about people like you guys at Great Opinion, the people on the other show, Win Grace, all the people. I worry like those are opinions I trust. I don't worry about the hate. But I was just wondering. I said, well, isn't it an alternate universe since everything shifted and this didn't happen in 1990s? There was no Third World War.
Yeah. I'm a little bit more open to hearing that argument now. If you would have told me that 5 years ago or even 3 years ago, I'd been like, no, man, we don't need to fork it anymore. This is the same universe. But I don't know, man. I guess time has just made me not, I ain't gonna say not care as much, but maybe I'm just not a little more as guarded about, how they shift the series going forward. Because honestly, I look at Doctor Who. We're so beholden to the past. You can't really do anything too different without everybody just wanting to trash the show. Mm-hmm. Even if it fits, and it's just different, but it fits with what the canon we know. So yeah, I'm a little bit more open to changes like that. I think at this point.
Tasha said it. You said it best, Tasha. You said, "Who thought we would be talking about this show 60 years later?"
Yeah.
So a lot of the inconsistency are just because Star Trek was a success, and we did. It's like we said. We know. Because me personally, I don't see change the timeline at all. Because to me, Star Trek history doesn't have to match our history up to that point. I mean, you can still have had this Third World War happen in the 90s. I'd be completely okay with that.
Yeah, I'm still mad I don't have my flying cars, man. Back to the Future lied to me. It lied to me, bro.
The Jetsons first. The Jetsons first.
If you take that, Battlestar Galactica happened on Earth 280,000 years ago when that took place, if you go by the show. Sorry.
Yeah. Hey, they got the World War III thing wrong, but thank goodness they put the rest of the timeline way out there. So.
But I also see like present day where we are without getting too in the weeds of politics. We're seeing some things, some of our history is being changed right now. When you can make changes to the Smithsonian, and I'm not going to name any names.
Yeah.
You can make changes there. History can be lost if not with the people. The people are carrying the history. If we don't pass the history down, it won't survive. So now it makes a lot of sense that the history of the wars in Star Trek and the what were they called, the eugenics wars? Yeah. When they say that time period got screwed up, I can see how it can happen now.
Well, they said it's just like what did they said? Eventually, we're going to get to the point where even today, it's like Tasha, your grandchildren, my grandchild, Clarence's children, and stuff. They're going to be able to see their great grandparents in actual videos. They won't see a dusty picture. Like I only knew one of my great grandparents. The others had already passed. They won't see a dusty photo. They'll be able to see you in 4K digital, see what you were like, what you heard.
But you know what the spin is going to be though? We in current record keeping government stuff, we have pretty good records. It's going to be labeled as incorrect somehow. This is AI. It's not factual. It's somehow it's going to be skewed to be, not be believed as what it actually is. And that is probably the greatest or the saddest thing that I can think of for the future going forward, because everything is questioned. Will be questioned.
We're sitting here 4K, like Reinhardt said, but in 20, 30 years when Ashton and Amira are older, this technology is going to be antiquated. They're going to, I wish we had the hologram of grandma sitting on the desk.
Interface. I've always called it the neural interface. It's going to be, the people who are young now, their grandkids, the people who are 20 years old. My friend whose son just had a daughter, they're going to be like, you got that neural interface on? I know you can. I can see by the way you're looking, you got it on, don't you? Because it'll be in your head. It won't be where other people can see it. And it's coming.
Yeah, picking up the comment here. The bell routes felt very real when we first got the actual date. Sanctuary cities. Yeah. Yeah.
That was
Well,
rough.
we never hear that term anymore, do we? Oh, boy.
So I'm sorry, going back to the episode, unless you pick
No,
up
no,
your,
go ahead.
Going back to the episode, I liked that Ortega's was given the trust, that they trusted her to come back and get in the chair after whatever she did last week.
Whatever that was. Yeah.
She went off the deep end and they trusted and brought her back. So my worry is her making it out of the season.
She's the only one who you got to worry about.
Yeah.
With Patel and
It very much seems like this season is going to be the season where everybody's going to get beat down just to get back up again. Maybe.
Although number one, let's be honest, we don't know number one's fate either.
No, we don't.
She puts on a wig and we see her as Nurse Chapel in TOS.
That's why I like seeing those two characters together. I'm thinking those are Major's characters.
But yeah, you're right. She's another one we don't really know the fate of going forward. So that would be interesting as well. But yeah, I just see this season as like all the characters are getting beat down a little bit, man. Little by little. I mean, of course, Pike he's still battling this thing with Patel that we didn't even address this episode. We have Ortega's going through it. Scotty apparently is still stuck on the last mission he was on that kind of his team failed him. So yeah, it's a lot of interesting, Spock is still heartbroken. So it's a lot of lines that we have to go with this season for redemption for our characters.
I have a question though. What would we do if this was like the old network days and we had like 20 episodes to review?
Oh God, I can't fathom.
Jesus, can you imagine?
I can't.
Well, it would make it easier to figure out what, especially when I was doing just kind of reviews, it makes it a whole lot easier to figure out what I'm going to talk about next week. If I had 20 weeks of content planned out for me in advance, but now, you get the 10 weeks or 10 episodes, not even 10 weeks. You get the 10 episodes and then it's like, okay, now what? Until something else comes, comes on.
But it would be daunting. That's why I said I think a lot of shows, and even Netflix is starting to change somewhat of their binge model, because when you let it simmer, just like we've all talked about, and that's something I want to get with you and talk about, Tasha, was Severance. I mean, each week you were hanging on the edge of your seat to find out what's going on. So I'm thinking that would be cool to have a series that ran for 20 and we get to discuss it every week.
That's some dedication.
It's a lot, but
yeah, guys, we're going to kind of wrap up there. Any final parting thoughts about this episode before we move on here?
I'll be glad to see where it goes. This episode is kind of in a bottle. We've opened the bottle. We've examined the contents, put it back in the bottle. Let's get back on track to what's going on next week.
Yes. And the next episode being Through the Lens of Time. Who knows where that's going? But it should be. I saw some images already. It should be interesting.
I did too.
I think there's going to be some shenanigans with the artifact or something, but we'll see. So Tasha, tell everybody where you're from, where they can find you, and what you do over on Unwrapped.
I usually never am good at talking about myself, so I wrote it down. So I talk about pop culture and real talk, real life conversations, from sci-fi, scandal to politics to protest. We break it all down with wit, perspective, and no tea.
Yeah, and congratulations on recently going viral. That was pretty cool to see.
That one video, and it's always the video that you don't want to do that, but if you get an audience is an audience. So
when Grace has the jokes, through the lens of time. Must be Pike cooking again. Touche, sir. Touche. Reinhardt, you have any shout out before we kind of wrap up here, sir?
No, I was like, just other than watching Tasha's channel and then the other channel, Best of Trek, I got to get on there, man. Yeah, y'all got to get me an invite on there.
Yeah,
that would be cool to do. I'm still trying to get on the Who channel all these years.
Oh, man. And with that, I'll plug discussingwho.com, where we talk about Doctor Who. Yes, and we love Shooty in the Discussing Who household. But yeah, guys, it's been a ton of fun. We're going to wrap here. Thanks to each and every one of you for joining in the chat, or if you're listening on the podcast stream, we really appreciate it. So until next time, holla.
You've been listening to the Discussing Network. Find out more at discussingnetwork.com.
Can I say that, like, shut up, Wesley? I can just go, shut up, Clarence?